Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Friday. What a pretty mad 24 hours it has been in the world of Arsenal. First of all, I apologise in advance if you suddenly hear a load of drilling or banging, but my neighbours are having a load of work done on their kitchen and conservatory right outside, and it has been so loud here all this morning. It's quiet at the moment. Hopefully it stays that way, but if it suddenly all starts kicking off, that's what the noise is, so apologies for that. Anyway, enough of the boring stuff. Let's talk about transfers, shall we? Because finally we have movement, and quite a bit of it, when it comes to Arsenal. Bolt from the blue yesterday with the news. Started out in Portugal, and that Fabio Vieira will be joining Arsenal. Absolutely hold my hands up. I had no idea on this one. No one did in England, certainly in England pack. Actually, in truth, no one really had it in the Portugal pack either. It was just came completely out of nowhere. Hadn't really been linked at all. And bang, pretty much an Arsenal player. Yeah, you just don't get transfers like this happening very often nowadays, where something like this just comes completely out of the blue and happens, and Arsenal have managed to keep it under wraps, and fair play to them. I was speaking to someone at the club today who was laughing about it, how they were sort of talking between themselves, how they managed to keep it under the radar completely until the very last minute. So well done to all involved in that particular deal, and it is very close now to happening. In fact, this morning Porto have even put a statement out to their sort of market over there, I presume because they're a listed company, and that statement's basically confirming that an agreement has been reached with Arsenal for the transfer of Fabio Vieira. They put the figures down as 40 million euros, which is about 35 million pounds. Kind of figures that I've been getting, speaking to people this morning, is more sort of 30 million with add-ons rising to around 35 million. So I'm not quite sure exactly. You always get two sides of the story when you talk to the selling club and the buying club, but in terms of exactly how much the price is. But I think if you say sort of 30 to 35 million with add-ons, it's going to be about that sort of ballpark for Vieira, who's 22. I don't know anything about him. I'm not a Portuguese football expert by any means. And I've been speaking to people over in Portugal, a couple of guys I really respect over there. Someone who I know works for Benfica and used to be academy manager at Benfica. And I spoke to him. We sort of having an exchange of WhatsApp messages last night about Vieira, and he was saying to be very excited about him, that he's a very, very good player. Obviously came through at Porto, not Benfica, but over there they've watched him extensively over the course of the last season. He wasn't always a starter at the start of the season, but I think basically the second half of the season he really came into his own, was very, very, very impressive for Porto, helped them win the league, obviously. And everyone that you talk to over there who know him and watch him and have seen him play have all said the same thing, that Arsenal should be very excited about this signing. He's a very talented player, can play kind of as a number 8 or a number 10. Very, very two-footed by the sounds of it as well. Really talented, really technically gifted. Kind of everyone he keeps getting compared to kind of Bernardo Silva, a young Bernardo Silva type player. Moves really well with the ball, can even play as a second striker by all accounts. Moves really well with the ball, like I said, very good eye for a pass. Got a lot of assists last season in the second half of the season when he was in the team. And people view him as one of the brightest young talents, if not the brightest young talent in Portuguese football right now. So credit to Arsenal for pulling this one off. He is at London Colney at the moment. He is at Arsenal. He flew in last night, so he's at the training ground at the moment. He's going through all the medical checks. Although Porto have confirmed that an agreement's been reached, that doesn't mean the transfer has been finalised. It hasn't yet. And speaking to a couple of people today, I'm not convinced that there's going to be an announcement from Arsenal imminently, just because Porto have done that announcement. I think we might have to wait possibly even until the early stages of next week, maybe over the weekend, for Arsenal to confirm it. They're going to have to wait for all the medical checks to be done. That's being done at the moment, and we'll do over the next couple of days. And then you've got to go through all the legal agreements with the legal teams for the contracts to be signed. Only at that point will Arsenal announce the transfer. So it might roll on for a few more days. It might, if you're waiting for it today, I'd maybe be a little bit more patient. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. He's just got to be patient for all the things on Arsenal's sides to be done. But in terms of the agreement between the clubs, that is done and dusted, all agreed. And now it's just a case of Arsenal finishing things off with the player over here. I mean, it's an exciting signing. Look, Vieira. I mean, who doesn't want Arsenal to sign a player called Vieira? He comes from Portugal as well. I mean, the song, it's already ready made for him, isn't it? Would you sing though? Is that putting too much pressure on a young kid? Can you really give such a legendary song to a young kid just because his same name? Will be really interesting to see what sort of song he gets from the Arsenal fans. But yeah, I mean, look. Like I said, I didn't know too much about him, but I've watched, like you guys all have, I'm sure. I've watched YouTube videos of him over the last sort of 12 hours or so, and he does look like an extremely talented player. Where exactly he fits in, if he's going to be a starter, I have no idea at this point, because I still think that Arsenal are going to move for Tielemans. I don't think that this means that Tielemans is a no-go when it comes to Arsenal. I still think they're going to try and push through and get that deal done. And so it could well be that Vieira is more of a squad player initially because he's young and he comes in, he's just going to improve the squad because, like I said, the people in Portugal that I've spoken to sort of see him as number 8 or a number 10. And obviously Tielemans can play in that sort of role as well. And if you're playing the 4-3-3, you know Thomas Partey's definitely starting as a holding midfielder. You know Martin Odegaard's definitely starting. So there's that one other position there, which Granit Xhaka has been operating in the second half last season, but we know that's not his proper role. And I still feel if Arsenal sign Tielemans, it'll probably be that's a ready-made position for Tielemans initially, and it might be a case of sort of allowing Vieira time to adjust because you've got to remember he's still very, very young. He's only really broken into the Porto team relatively recently, as in the starting 11. So we've got to give him time, and so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how he fits in and how quickly he becomes an established player in this team, but certainly a talented player nonetheless. So Arsenal will be very happy with that. And like I said, I still think they're going to continue pushing on with Tielemans. There's been a lot of frustration amongst the fan base. I've been saying it for the last few videos. You just got to be a little bit patient. All the noises coming out of Arsenal was they were going to do plenty of business. They were going to be entering this market pretty strongly. You just had to be a little bit patient. And I know frustration was building, certainly after the whole Basuma thing with Tottenham. But it was always going to happen with Arsenal. They were always going to make their moves. They were always going to try and get the players in that they want to get in. And it's starting now. And this is happening with Vieira. As I said, I think Tielemans is very much a player that Arsenal have right at the top of their list. I still think they're going to try and get that done with Leicester City over the coming weeks or days. And it's the same with Gabriel Jesus as well. And I've just put a story out on Goal about Jesus, and Arsenal are really sort of pushing forward with that one now after he's finished with his international period with Brazil. They have had a bid rejected from Manchester City. The opening bid has been turned down by Manchester City, but talks are ongoing and they're accelerating as well. And I think there's a willingness between all parties to try and get something done now. Gabriel Jesus wants his future sorted out pretty quickly, so he knows where he's going to be playing. Arsenal absolutely want to get this deal done for Gabriel Jesus, and Manchester City are open to letting him leave. City, by all accounts, are holding out for around £50 million for Jesus. Arsenal, understandably, don't really want to pay that because he's only got a year left on his contract, and so there is going to be talks continuing and ramping up. And Arsenal, although this opening bid has been rejected, then they haven't gone away, and the two clubs are very much talking to try and come to some sort of conclusion. Whether Arsenal can hammer the price down remains to be seen. Whether Manchester City really sort of hold out and try and get as much as they possibly can for Jesus remains to be seen. That's all something that's going to be ironed out. But Arsenal are absolutely trying to get this deal done now pretty quickly. And you sort of look at that. If they get Vieira in, if they can get a deal done for Jesus, if they can wrap up Tielemans, then suddenly that squad's looking an awful lot stronger already, and we've still got plenty of time left in the transfer window. And I wouldn't say that will be it for the transfer window either if Arsenal do get those 3 deals in. I've said before they are very much interested in Rafinha at Leeds. Whether they push forward and try and get that deal done while Nicolas Pepe is still at the club remains to be seen. I think they probably need to get something agreed with Pepe before they can really push on and bring Rafinha in, because I don't see how you can have all those players. You can have Rafinha and Pepe at the club next season. So we'll see, but the interest is there, and there's other interesting players as well. So, Arsenal, they're making moves in the transfer market. It's taken a little bit longer than a couple of other sides. Yes, we've had to wait a little bit patiently while Liverpool have signed someone, while Man City have signed someone, while Tottenham have signed a few, but Arsenal now stepping in and making the moves that they want. And like I said, I'm pretty excited about Vieira, and I'm from the comments I've had on social media, I think you guys are all excited about him as well. So please do let me know what you guys think. Are you happy with the Vieira signing? how surprised are you that it's come about? Have you ever seen him? Are you one of these people that have actually watched him? A lot more than I have. And if you are, then please let me know what you think of him and where exactly he's going to fit in, how you can see him fitting in this Arsenal side over the coming seasons. Hopefully he's going to be very, very successful. Okay, and before I go, I just want to quickly talk about Eddie Nketiah as well. You know, that contract is getting very, very close to being done and dusted now. As far as I'm aware, it has not yet been signed, but it is very close to being done, and we could well be getting closer to the announcement stage, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an announcement or a confirmation on Matteo Guendouzi in the next week. Wouldn't be so I'd keep your eyes peeled for that. Possibly not over the weekend, but maybe next week when it comes to Guendouzi completing his move to Marseille. We know it's already pretty much, you know, it was the done deal when he signed the loan agreement last season. There was only a few clauses that if they weren't hit, then he would stay, and that included things like Marseille getting relegated, which was never going to happen. So it was basically already a done deal. And obviously they didn't get relegated. They did very well. They finished second. Guendouzi got named Young Player of the Year there, and he is going to be completing that move. It's going to be about £9 million. Added to the sort of £1 million loan fee they got, so Arsenal are going to get about 10 million for Guendouzi. As I've said before, I don't think that's a very good price tag for a player like Guendouzi at his age after the season he's had, but it's what it is. Arsenal entered into that agreement, and they've got to agree to it now. Got to let it all get pushed through. One player they didn't was Lucas Torreira, who we know is now back at square one, and Arsenal are continuing, I'm told, to try and find a solution when it comes to Lucas Torreira. I don't see him having an impact at Arsenal next season. Obviously, if absolutely no club comes in, then he's going to have to stay. But at the moment, the process going on at Arsenal right now is to find Lucas Torreira a new club, get him out the door, sell him, get some money in, and move on. You would think that there should be plenty of takers given the season he had in Italy, but we'll wait and see on that one. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate your time as always. Please do enjoy the rest of your Friday and the weekend. Absolute scorcher here in the UK. Hottest June day for about 50 years. So go out and enjoy yourself. Put your sun cream on though. Be good. All right, everyone, have a good weekend. I'll speak to you soon.